Hello guys, and welcome to the first few minutes of my Destiny gameplay. So hopefully this video will help you make decisions about the upcoming game, whether to get excited about it, or if you're just curious about how the first few minutes play out, because the beta is no longer up, so you have to rely on secondhand footage from people like me on YouTube. And of course, one sad thing about that is the fact that the footage on YouTube is not as beautiful as the game. That's one thing I noticed immediately when I actually got it onto my Xbox One. YouTube doesn't have the same resolution and rendering that your Xbox One has. And of course, if you want to get into huge discussions about whether the PS4 is more beautiful or whatever, you can do that. I'm not a huge graphics geek. I love pretty graphics, but I'm not going to freak out about it. The Xbox One is carrying the franchises which I want to play, and that's my reasoning. That if I have to have a slight downgrade in graphics, I'm actually okay with it. So, weirdly enough, a little robot flying around in a Bungie game, what's that make me think of? Anyway, of course, obviously made me think of the Spark from Halo, but his design is actually much closer to the Helper bot from Descent 3, which I used to play when I was a kid. You guys probably never played it, but anyway, you had a little bot which you could release from your ship, which would do things for you, and it looks exactly like that. I don't know if Bungie, stole the rights from them or paid them off or who knows what. And of course, you have your first glimpse of the Fallen, which look pretty cool. I mean, I love monsters, and in this game, so far they've done a really good job. I like the monster design. They look creepy and cool, and they have a sort of wild, barbaric look to them, which is, I think, the whole point. Sort of like a advanced sci-fi cross between the people from Borderlands without all the comic book feel, and the characters inhabiting the Fallout universe, but of course they're actually aliens instead, so I'm not sure if that was even a good connection at all. And of course, you can apparently resurrect, which is super useful because you wind up dying a lot. At least I wind up dying a lot. Maybe you guys will have less need of this feature than I did. Of course, if you're thinking about pre-ordering the game, you may wonder why you want me to pre-order, because I always download games on my Xbox now. I've just got tired of the disc scratching. I like the fact that my media goes with me wherever I go. So I'm just on Xbox One for sure. All my games are going to be downloaded. And if I need more room, I can delete something and then download them again in the future from my account. But I'm not sure how that works with pre-orders. Can you pre-order a download? And in case you're wondering, you can download the game the moment it comes out, just as if you're standing in line at the store with your pre-order disc. So pretty much, unless you live right next to a game store, you're going to get your game faster sitting there waiting for it to download. Unless you also have a terrible internet connection, then you would get the pre-order. It really takes the wind out of the whole pre-order sales. And it's another topic, but I think that game stores are sort of on the downward spiral. They're going to probably go the way of Blockbuster videos. But, life changes. The digital media is available. And of course here we have some mild horror elements in the game. Later on there's definitely a spot which is a lot better as far as making me genuinely scared. And hopefully we'll have a few more moments like that, because I do enjoy games which just have that edge, like in Gears when you have the third act where you go into the horror or the bowels of some really creepy place. And so now we're rolling into the place where we actually get to use some of our guns here. And yeah, controls pretty much like Halo. It has standard shooter controls. I'm not sure really a lot needs to be said about them, and everyone knows how to control with this setup. And of course, it's sort of a combination of several universes. You have the smoothness of the controls and the Halo feel of the whole thing, but at the same time, you have the post-apocalyptic world that is a little bit reminiscent of Borderlands and Fallout and that kind of feel. And of course, it's a role-playing game, so you've got your skill trees and that remind you of those. It's an open world, and you get a lot of you get loot. Not nearly as much as a game like Borderlands or even Skyrim, where you can loot everybody. This is pretty much just ammunition and occasionally a drawing, I guess, for a weapon that you can redeem at the tower. So it's a little bit different than your general role-playing games, but pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I like collecting loot, but at the same time it also bogs down the experience, and I think they streamlined the whole loot collecting experience pretty well here. So I don't have it yet, but whenever your grenade and stuff get unlocked, the power usage, which is basically a recharging power with a cooldown, does feel a lot like Mass Effect actually. So as far as the character development and upgrade tree, it feels a little bit like Mass Effect, but it does have its own unique feel. Of course, Mass Effect's character customization screen was one of the best I've ever had, as far as tons and tons of options, being able to make whatever you want. This one, you're sort of routed along general lines, but the general lines are pretty good, and there's lots of them. So Destiny is unique in that, well, it feels both fresh and a rehash. There's a real hodgepodge of games that it draws from. I also had a little bit of an Assassin's Creed vibe, just in the character design, especially of the Guardians. They with their little hoods and their swishy cloaks and everything, really, and jumping around, really Assassin's Creedy. So far, one of my favorite areas of Destiny is the monsters. They have, just like Bungie did with the Covenant and Halo, I feel like they did a good job with these. There's a lot of variety in these monsters. The monster variety ratio, let's see, the amount of monster variety seen per minute played of the game ratio is really high at this point, and let's hope to keep that up, because that'd be a lot of fun. You would help us not get bored with the monsters we're killing. Especially, it just makes the game's much more replayable, and you can play for a lot longer. And I really hope that they continue the same kind of feel throughout the rest of the game, and that you aren't disappointed that in the beta you saw every monster you're going to see, and then you just get sort of jaded and sad, which happens to me in games which look really promising, and I like the first few, but then I realize that that's all there is, and they sort of weighted the coolness and the variety to the front of the scale. And you have your upgrade system is pretty nice. You find the weapons you find out in the world you can use in multiplayer, and by killing various creatures you unlock various upgrades for them. It's sort of standard, and it does reward the explorer and the people who play the single player a lot, because you can use them in multiplayer. But I think, as far as I could tell, the weapon when you take it in multiplayer gets balanced so that you don't get destroyed by people with really high level weapons, and which is cool. And I think it's a good trade-off between making it rewarding for explorers, and they feel like their time spent in single player is not wasted and carries over to multiplayer, but doesn't give them atomic bombs. So, and I can't really talk about the multiplayer too horribly much, because I played only 2 games and I sucked. I had like a 0.7 KD ratio, but won because my team was great, and they probably all hated me and glared at me as I left. And then the demo ended, and I'll have to wait until September to see if I can improve my skills. And yes, I will be getting this game in September, pretty much guaranteed. So hopefully we'll have more videos for this. I don't know if I'll do any tutorials like I do for Gears, but if you guys express strong interest in them, I might. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more interesting commentaries on fascinating and random subjects, instructional videos, and just occasional random creativity. Alright, thanks guys for watching. See you later. Bye.